Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. We have a familiar guest. We have my friend Chad Morgan. I'm actually really stoked to say that he is now an even closer friend than he was the first time we had him on the podcast. But we talked on the podcast. We talked a lot about principles of fulfillment the last time we spoke. But really, what I want to do on this episode is get a deeper understanding of who Chad is, what his story is, because the dude's an absolute savage in business. He's doing multiple six figures. He's only 22. He's moved out to San Diego. He's got a sick car. Like, dude's got some life experience under his belt and he's very, very young. So I kind of just want to get into his mind, his story, so that way we can inspire you guys to do something very similar. So, Chad, welcome to the show again. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, we can go ahead and start with. Well, actually, let's just start with most recent events. You just moved to San Diego last week. What's it feel like to just pick up and move, and you can take your business with you? You can just change your life situation. Like, what's this last week been like for you?
It feels very, very empowering. Honestly, and coming off the last conversation that we had on our podcast as well. You said like live in a place where you feel, fulfilled. And California has always been a dream of mine ever since I was a kid. I would tell my mom time and time again every time I visit out here to see a family up in Moreno Valley and Riverside, like, hey, I want to live here. If the weather's perfect, I need to be by the beach. So to be able to be in a position to where I literally can pick up my life and move to a place that I know is going to make me happier, just it's so empowering. And at the end of the day, this is the kind of thing that I hope can motivate and inspire a lot of other individuals to live life on their own terms. Because there's anything that I'm super blessed to say is that I do live an extraordinary life, and that's simply because I do live life on my own terms, and I've created and fulfilled, my destiny. My destiny will continue to do so. So I feel so happy and so proud. And I'm excited to see what this journey and this next chapter of my life takes me.
I love it, man. Just so you guys know, Chad moved right down the street from me, so now we're gonna be hanging out a lot more. So I'm super stoked about that. Yeah, but last time we talked about fulfillment, which comes after the fact, right? So fulfillment is an after story. After you've gone through your character arc, after you go through your journey, after you achieve success and grounding in your life, you have to ask yourself, okay, so now what makes me happy? Right? That's where fulfillment comes from. But what I want to do with you today is talk about the before story. Where did this all come from? Because right now, dude, you're crushing life. You're in San Diego. Like you said, you have a very, very like impactful life and a very like, purposeful life. But how did you get here? That's really where I want to know. So let's start from the very, very beginning and just take it from there.
Dude, yeah. Well, I mean, let's start way back. Before the passion was even fitness and coaching and business and this life that I live today. The first thing that I was really drawn and attracted towards was basketball. Kobe Bryant, I look at and is literally I have a sign behind me that says Mamba mentality. Is like the first real like inspiration and mentor, you could say, that I had in my life. I studied his game. I would literally go out on my basketball court in my front yard and just like copy his fadeaway over and over and over again and try to play like this dude. And from basketball, I built this real inner competitive edge. And something that I noticed is I started playing basketball more so in like one-on-one style, more so like driveway basketball with like my neighbors, and things got pretty heated and pretty intense and pretty competitive, especially between me and one of my best friends growing up. And I could never beat the dude. Like he was way better than me, like for a given fact. But I kept trying. Like every single day we would play, I would keep trying. I would keep trying. I remember a specific story where we'd play a game to 21 like normal, and I lost, and I was like, "Yo, let's run it back. Yo, let's run it back." But we kept counting the same score, so it would keep going up and up and up. And I swear, we played maybe 6 or 7 games at 21. I wouldn't stop. We were out there for hours, like sweating, like and we were getting each other's faces, and I still like didn't win. And I still remember that moment so vividly because it's put this mindset and this mentality into myself that like, yo, whatever I do, I'm going to strive to not be outworked. I'm going to strive to keep going for that win and keep going until I can't fucking stop anymore. And through this passion for basketball, I ended up getting cut, for my high school basketball team because I actually felt like I was obligated to make the team. I took like a whole year of summer ball off. I think we traveled that year to go see my family in the Philippines, and I came back and just felt obligated to make the team, obligated to make varsity, start at point guard, etc. And that wasn't the case. And from that moment forward, basketball got taken out of my life, and I stopped picking up the ball. I literally went a few years without even touching it, and not until getting back into college. And at that moment, I felt like, damn, what is my purpose? Like, what am I here to do? And throughout childhood and throughout playing basketball, obviously I was told by my parents and friends, like, well, you gotta like go for a real job. You know what I mean? You won't make it to the NBA. You gotta have a goal. And then my father was someone that placed a lot of high expectations on me, but not real much related to sport. I felt very lonely in that journey of sports because my parents weren't really interested in it. They just wanted to see me do something and enjoy something. So throughout those expectations from my father, he had a high expectation of me being his first son or kid to graduate from college. And he wanted me to be a financial advisor and have this successful job. And so I was like, okay, well, I lost basketball. Got to do something. And so that's what I started investing myself into. And getting into college. Now, let's not even before that. Let's backtrack a little bit. Throughout high school, let's go back to when I did get cut. I'm skipping too far ahead here. When I did get cut, I felt like things just got ripped away from me. I started seeking, external validation more than ever. I started seeking confidence from other places because I at that point I lost it. I felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore. This is where the insecurities of body image started to kick in. But realistically speaking, I've told this story, many times, but now looking back on it, something to reflect on is the real lack of confidence was from having so many damn expectations on me from childhood, and even with me being like a $155, 6 foot tall my senior year, like super skinny. Yeah, I had body image issues and I felt like I never like looked the part or was good enough. And obviously was told by my coaches and teammates that I needed to put on weight, even for baseball. That led to a lot of insecurities, but a lot of my confidence issues were from the high expectations and me letting those expectations down and not necessarily feeling like I was enough for my father or my parents. And due to that, I felt like I always had to fit in with the popular crowd, like try to be somebody that I wasn't. And I tried so hard to like dress the part, look the part, and be the part. And it made me so desperate to feel confident, so desperate enough to where I felt like I just needed a relationship to put this lack of confidence, obviously pretty much in the hands of someone else to help me grow. And because of that, man, like I literally tried to talk to every single girl that I possibly could in high school at that point. And I would get rejected left and right. Obviously that hurt my confidence even more and more and more. But so desperate to the point where coming out of high school, I was just like, damn, like, who am I? I completely lost my own identity in feeling of self. And going into college, that was my fresh restart. That was my opportunity to say, hey, I can take control of my life. So moving into college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something new. I'm gonna do what I was always kind of in the back of my head, telling me that my coaches had to be like, yo, Shad, you gotta put on weight. You gotta put on weight. You gotta get big. And leading from the self-image insecurities I had and the body image insecurities I had, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get in the gym. And I was thinking about it. It's like that real competitive mindset and attitude that I brought into basketball, brought into hoop. I had that same competitive drive in the gym for training. When we went out on the track with our teammates, I was underperforming strength-wise. I was underperforming even skill-wise because that getting cut from basketball made me just lack my confidence in my ability to perform. I rode the bench all senior year for a baseball team as well. But the training aspect, the running aspect, the ab exercise aspect, like I was giving that my all every fucking day. So I fell in love with that. And not having sports moving into college is like, okay, I got to do something. And that's where I started getting into fitness and started seeing my body change. And that was the first time since getting cut from that basketball team where I actually started really doing something for myself. not doing things for other people, not doing things because my dad wanted me to do them, not doing things because I felt like I had to be the popular kid or fit in with people, but for me. And that more than anything is what grew confidence in me. And I started getting questions from people like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, you're putting on some weight, like, you look great, man. And obviously hearing that, I was like, damn, this is very, very empowering. And understanding that by leading myself and doing something for myself, I was inspiring others. And the first thing I always said to people was like, hey, if I can do this, you can do it too. And that's something I still live by. And that led to me helping my college roommates for free, helping friends from high school for free. And next thing you know it, I'm really getting into like posting a little bit of fitness content here left and right. I'm still working at this job, still in college. And as I was doing that, I started really having fun with that whole process and getting further and further away from studying and further and further away from doing things in school. I would come home from school and say, hey, let's edit content, or hey, let's study how to grow my business. Let's study more fitness stuff and learn more. So that's what I was spending all my time. And at that time, I was watching a lot of Gary Vee, like a ton of Gary Vee. And he was instilling so much courage into me to just really chase after what the hell was going to make me happy. And it was very, very awakening, but still, I was scared because I was scared to let my parents down. I was scared to let my family down. At the time, at the job that I was at, I was actually working for my half sister, my older half sister. It's like, damn, like if I leave this and I pursue this journey, I'm gonna be letting a lot of people down. But a funny part of this story that actually has gotten me to this point is I got invited. I won a giveaway to go on this like Date Fit fitness cruise. Do you remember that thing?
I remember. I knew you at this time. I was gonna say like because right around you were in college, started posting fitness content about when I found you. I don't remember how I found you, but I don't even remember when we got in contact with each other. But I remember watching that journey of you winning you won the ticket and you went to that cruise, and I remember watching you there. My girlfriend at the time was on that cruise, and so I was very, very involved in like seeing like, everyone's stories. Like it looked like a great time, but yeah, I totally remember that.
What's funny about that is at the time I won, obviously I felt like so fucking lucky, like, damn, I won this thing. But the cool part about that is when I did win, I did meet Jorge. Jorge Rosado was the one who gave me that giveaway. I met him on the cruise and he was like, yo, dude, like, not gonna lie to you, like I went to like 1 to 2 people's pages who I picked before you, and I was like, nah, like they wouldn't want to go, or like, no, I wouldn't really want them to go. But I saw your page and I was like, damn, this dude's a go-getter. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I still refer back to that moment. It's like I really don't resonate with the term luck at all, because I'm like, I created this fucking opportunity. Like I won this giveaway, but I created this fucking opportunity by showing up for my clients, like literally starting this business. I started my coaching business officially in August of 2018 while I was still in school. I started coaching people for free beginning in 2017. And through posting this content while being in school, while working that full-time job, like that's what earned me that. And I almost didn't go. Like I was scared. Like I had midterms that week and I was like, fuck, do I do this? And like, I'm going to miss a whole week of class, but I just sent it. And by doing that, like I met people that were obviously holding out vlog cameras, were like coaching full time. I met some of great friends, Justin and Gina, who were doing the thing full time as well. And I was like, damn, there's no reason why I can't do this shit. And if I'm gonna sit here and say, hey, if I can do this, you can do it too. Like I gotta start listening to myself. And when I came back from that, I had my mind made up that I was like, school isn't for me. Like this is for me. This is the lifestyle I want to live. I want to have this freedom. And so I had that conversation with my parents, and surprisingly enough, my dad was the one who took it extremely well. And he's like, hey, no matter what, promise me that whatever you do, you become the very best at what you do and you actually enjoy your work. And I was like, fuck, that was something that was incredibly powerful. And I'm so thankful for my father and I's relationship, because obviously it wasn't the best growing up. I let him down in so many ways. But for him to hear that, like, damn, I feel like I really have like lived up to what he's wanted out of me. And not that that really matters, but it was just a really empowering moment. My mom was the one that was like crying and bawling. I was like, are you sure? So after that, I made the jump, and immediately after I was like, yo, I'm gonna move down to Houston, Texas. You know, I'm gonna start doing this thing full time. I'm gonna get uncomfortable. I'm gonna put myself in a position to where I'm around other people like I was on that cruise. Other people that are coaching, other people that are doing this thing. And since that, you know, this coaching business has become what it was, but also outside the business with fitness, you know, that real competitive fire that I had, you know, for hoop and playing outside and playing one-on-one, that competitive fire is there within competing and bodybuilding, you know, and this is like a solo sport. This is me versus me. And so that love for competing that I have today definitely roots from the same love that I have for competing for basketball. So I'm very, very thankful for all the moments in my life, and most importantly, the downs, you know, most importantly, the down moments, because that's what's built who I am today. And I'm everyone here that's listening to this, you're built off your struggles, you know. So there's a lot of times in my life where I can look back, it's like, damn, that built a lot of courage and a lot of confidence. My first time competing, actually moving out of my parents' house and moving to Houston, dropping out of college. Those are the moments I look back, it's like, yeah, that's what's made me grow the most. Actually graduating high school and deciding to start my fitness journey, that's what's made me grow the most.
Yeah.
So there's moments where I took the biggest leaps.
I love it, man. I love it. It's very interesting because I'm like lining up my timeline because I don't even know how I found you. And I actually I pulled up our old DMs to look at the first time I reached out to you. I reached out to you December 4th, 2018. So that was probably a couple months after you officially started your coaching business.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I don't know how I found you, but my first message to you, it was a reply to your story. I can't see your story. I don't know what it said, but I said, I agree. You're one of the top I follow, including Patty. Don't know Hang Fit, but I'm gonna have to scope him now. You said, dude, thanks. That means so much. So my first message to you was just saying, hey man, I like your shit. Which honestly, I think people need to do that more. I don't think people get out of their comfort zone enough to just reach out to people and say, hey dude, I like what you got going on. I respect what you're doing. And obviously that single message brought us together, and I've been watching your journey ever since. But yeah, dude, let's talk about something that you mentioned in your story. Your first few clients, you trained them for free. I don't think you talked about that enough. And I think that coaches who join PTBI, some of them I have to kind of check them. I'm like, hey, look, you know, you got to put in your hours, you got to put in your dues. Like they're like out the gate charging $500 a month, and I'm like, all right, let's bring it down a little bit. Let's get you some clients first. Right. How important was it for you to train your first few clients for free? And like, why, like, what did that open for you?
I look back at that and I think, oh, man, I'm glad that you came back to that. I'm like thinking about like how I told that story, and like there's like definitely like missing gaps in it. But that's what we'll do is obviously fill those in. But yeah, man, it started off with my college roommates, also one of my high school classmates that I had. And through that, obviously I felt like I wasn't at all, you know, this authority to be able to be this official like coach yet. So being able to just say, hey, I don't know everything, but let me do my absolute best for you, and let's see how we can work together. Like, okay. And I just obviously I asked for their full blown commitment. I was like, hey, if we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this for free, like I want you to give this everything you have, and I want us to do this together. You know, anything I can do to help you. Because we're both learning at the same time. So it started off with just like Microsoft Word docs, you know, Microsoft Word docs and like weekly check-ins, and obviously text me if you have any questions. And it was so gratifying, fulfilling to see like progress photos come back and see them actually make a change, and then like get hyped up and like, yo, dude, like I just hit a PR in the gym. Like, yo, this tip helped me out with this so much. And like those first initial texts of feeling that, I was like, holy fuck, like this is like the real, honestly, like the first time where I felt like I was actually really giving something back to the world and not doing all these things for me. Something from childhood that I actually don't speak up a lot about is that like I was very, very self-obsessed, you know, and there's times where I can still like those things can come back full circle. So I'm very much more aware of it now, and I know how to push past it. But like both my parents say, Chad, you're still so me focused. You never think about the other person. So for me to like have that and start like giving back and seeing that, I was like, holy shit, this is insane. And that's what gave me the confidence to continue learning. And I was like, yo, like, this is a responsibility that I have for these people. So if I'm going to continue serving them, I need to continue learning myself, and I can continue bettering myself so I can continue learning to better serve them moving forward. And that's what gave me the confidence to be a coach.
I love it, man. So it kind of just started as you helping a couple friends out. And then you said you did this for almost a year before you officially came out with your coaching business, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at what point did you start charging clients? Like, what was the moment that you're like, I need to start charging for this, or I need to start, making this a service? And how much did you charge from the start?
So July of 2018, this was 1 month after I did the first Summer Shredding Classic in Houston in June of 2018, where I was just like, yo, like, Christian's a huge inspiration to me. Alfred's a huge inspiration to me. Like, Christian's obviously doing Summer Shredding. Like, why not like get out like comfort zone and like try to compete and do this thing, get some experience. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, like, shit, I'm all in now. I'm going to keep posting and posting and posting more content. And there's this guy, his name's Steven. We still work together. Literally still work together. My first ever paid client. He reached out and was like, yo, dude, I followed your entire prep on Summer Shredding, and I was watching all your stories and like seeing all your posts. And it wasn't that I was like posting that often, but he's like, I'm super inspired, man. I want you to help me. Like, what are your rates? Blah, 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 blah. And this is at a time where I like first made like a little website on Wix, and I had like these different packages. And I was like, coaching with me is $50 a month. And like, it's funny because he jokes around with me, and he like sends me like the first email I sent him. He's like, dude, like, this is the most professional ass email. This is your first one. I'm like, yeah. And literally $50 a month then is where I started coaching Steven off. And like, I can still say this to this date, like, he's one of my most successful stories, successful transformations, and we still work together today. Our plans to actually get him on stage in the future, but $50 a month, man. July 2018 is where that started.
Dude, that's amazing. I have to turn my camera really quick because my camera battery just died. You get the front view now. So that's funny because my first few clients were free, and then my first paid client was $50 a month as well. I think everybody has to pay those dues. Like, you have to ramp yourself up. Like, in the beginning, it's so much more important to just get the experience and get the testimonials and get the results than it is to try to make money.
100%.
So tell me about the moment that you kind of saw this taking off. Like, were you able to make enough to like pay the bills and like travel and stuff? Like, was it like a 4K month, 5K month, to where you're like, holy shit, like, I can actually do this full time? Like, what moment was that for you?
Dude, that's a really good question. This is actually right around when you reached out to me in like December 2018. At that time you reached out, I remember vividly what content I was putting out. I was putting out workouts, but I was also doing like workout tutorials. I also started vlogging, and I was putting out like twice weekly videos and editing my own videos, just like on top of my shit, showing up on my story every single day. And actually starting to do like sales calls to enroll clients. So it's the first time I was actually getting into calls and quote unquote high ticket coaching. Was around that time frame. Obviously the business started in August of 2018 officially. And it was around towards that Q4 time where I learned, okay, hey, like, if I want to scale this, I need to start taking calls and charging a little bit more. And I literally closed like my first ever call. I think I closed them at like a $750 like paid in full or something. And I'm like, holy shit. I was sitting there on my fucking dorm room chair, and I was just like, I just made $750 in a day, and I was like, fuck, like, that's more than I'd make a day working this job. So like, that gave me so much more confidence. I went and go to my roommate and said, guys, I just made $750 a day. And like, I was pumped, and that feeling and emotion, I was like, I want to keep doing this, I want to keep building on this momentum. And so that's what I did. I started DM outreaching. I created like a application process. I was starting to switch up systems. I was starting to use like Trainerize and getting people in there. And I'm like, holy fuck, like, this is legit. I feel legit, and once I started adding up, I was just like, okay, well, literally I am actually making more, and it wasn't that I was making much. I was working part-time part-time in school, full-time in the summer, like at this job. And I was like, this is just all I want to do. I'm even at work they don't know this, but they probably do now. But I was at work, like behind my desk, like caring for my clients, figuring out what I can do to scale my business at work. So I'm like, this is all I want to do. And it was actually my sister, who I was working for at the time, that was like, Chad, like, why don't you just do this? Like, why don't you just start the business? I'm like, okay. So it was definitely a lot of belief in myself, but also I definitely had to give credit to my sister that she saw that I really had a passion for it too. So around that time where you reached out, man.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I know that those emotions are fleeting. I know that there's highs and lows. So like what happened when you crashed? Was there a moment where you made that 750 or taking your business full time? You're like, hell yes, let's do it. Did you ever have a come down or a crash after that to where you got a little shaky? You're like, holy shit, what am I doing? Like, what was that like?
Dude, it's actually, holy shit. I've never been asked that before. How do I explain this? I wouldn't say I had a crash. I wouldn't say that I was like crazy up and down. I just like was so like, honestly, from the start, bro, I was like just so fucking relentless for it. Like I wanted it so bad, and through that, I really had a passion for creating content. And I was putting out a very, very consistent amount of content across YouTube and Instagram, both. Always engaged with like messaging and messaging people back. And I started having like people outreach like and people reach out to me. It's like, yo, dude, you're crushing it. Your content's like super helpful. And like money aside, dude, like I never felt a crash because I was feeling supported. I felt people actually believing in me. And that's powerful shit. That's powerful shit. My whole like MBA dream, I didn't get belief from my parents or people around me. They're like, you're a fucking idiot. So like to have like that level of belief in me to be able to do this into something I actually really enjoy doing was something brand new to me. And it's like to this day, man, it's like I still feed off that. And it's exactly what drives me, man.
Dude, I love that because that's very similar to what I tell my clients too. Because I always tell my clients, dude, like get as unattached to sale as possible.
Yes.
Like their first 1K day, I hype them up. I'm like, dude, good shit. Like this is awesome. And I tell them never again, right? Because after that point, you will base your happiness on whether you make the sale or not. What you need to base your happiness off of is helping your current clients get the results that they want. Because if you can just focus on that, then everything else will take care of yourself. And that's happiness that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that you're like, I got my passion and energy from creating content. Doesn't matter whether you're up or down. That's something that you can control. That's within your ability to always create consistent happiness. That's awesome. But let me see if I have any other questions. Anything that you want to add in?
No, dude. I mean, it's still there. That passion for creating, the passion for showing up is still there, even at this scale with the business. And obviously, we have more people involved on the team and coaches under the team. And I was actually on a podcast before this where I started talking about just like asking for help. But now that there's more people on the team, I don't necessarily have to be so involved in the numbers and logistics as much as I was like from the forefront, where I can just focus so much on the creating aspect and just like showing up for people, because that's really like that's it. Showing up for my clients, showing up for my audience. That's where I find so much of the fulfillment, regardless of what the numbers say. So I think whether you're starting a business or not, really chasing after something that brings you fulfillment, regardless of what the money brings in, is the money is going to take care of itself. If you just have that burning fucking fire and desire to give something, give something of your value, give something of your talent to somebody each and every single day, the rest takes care of itself, truly.
I love it. Let's talk about vision, because if there's anyone who has a big vision, it's you. Based on our conversations, you're always talking about where you want to take Beyond Built, what you see in 5 years. Where does that come from for you? Did you have to learn how to create your vision? Is that something that's always been there for you? Like, how do you, come up with that?
Mm-hmm. Dude, honestly, anything that I envision for this business, as much as I want to say like, hey, like this is my vision, I can't say that because courage and like confidence, I believe that a lot. Let's say courage. That shit's external, man. And here's what I mean when I say that. It's like, I can't sit here and have the courage within myself, and I can't sit here and have and instill courage within others if I haven't had people that have instilled courage within me, and I've been blessed enough to be around like some of the most amazing people ever in my life, and through mentors, through people that I've looked up to, not even through mentors I've even met, like just watching like Christian Guzman and him like build his empire with Alfleet and like do his summer shredding vlogs, like that instilled courage in me to be able to do that too. Seeing him coach people and transform people, that encouraged me to be able to do that too, and hiring my business mentors encouraged me to see this bigger, see what was actually available within myself. I currently have a business partner in Beyond Built. His name's Farshad. Like bringing him onto the team and the conversations that we've had, he's instilled courage into me and us to say, hey, like this can be a lot bigger than what we think. And the more and more I've started to actually point fingers rather than saying, this is all me, like this is all me, I did this. It's like, I'm not here without him. I'm not here without her. I'm not here without this. I'm not here without them. That's what's made me understand that none of this shit's about me or ever will be about me. And when that is the case, this vision just like it blows up, because you see it not being about you anymore, but you see it about the impact. You see it about the team. You see it about, hey, I can bring someone onto this team. This person can help change a life. But at the end of the day, bringing them onto the team, I'm adding value to their life. I'm giving them financial security as well. That's so fulfilling. So none of it really is about me anymore. And understanding that the bigger this grows, it's not about how much money I make. It's about how our impact can spread. My impact down to a client's impact to their family's impact, anything that they want to do. Like how this impact spreads is how we, not me, but we can create a better impact on this world, bring more leaders to this world, create our positive impact on this world, and at the end of the day, create an infinite life. So the vision for this, I can't say that it's mine, but it's ours. I'm not here without my clients. I'm not here with without the people on my team, the people that I've looked up to get here. So as far as thinking bigger and bigger and bigger, the only way I can is if I stop thinking about me and start thinking about us as a collective.
I love it, man. I love it. I have a couple more questions for you. You're 22 years old, correct?
Yeah.
Dude, what does it feel like? Does it even feel real? Because I know sometimes when I'm on the beach and I'm like, I'm 25, I'm making more money than I know what to do with. And I'm like, someone's going to tap on my shoulder and tell me like, hey, playtime's over. It's time to go get a job. It's time to go join the rest of the world. Like, it doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm on vacation, right? So what does it feel like for you knowing that all of your friends, for the most part, are still in college and you're here just crushing it, living your fullest life?
Fuck, man. Damn, I love that question. I love that question because I've been on beach walks since I got here, and I'm thinking like, holy fuck, this is my life. I'm like, there's moments of the day where I just look up, like, God damn, I live here, and sometimes I just step back, I'm like, fuck, this is what I do for a living. It's one, obviously, it's empowering, man, but two, it really shows me that this is gonna be deep, but like, I don't so much place any real definition on success anymore, and I've come to understand that through this mission and through my life's mission and through my purpose, I truly do live a fulfilled life, and I truly don't need anything else. And I've lived my entire life up to these points, wanting and needing more and thinking that I need more, when I've actually understood that like all I actually need is my true state of being and what my heart's always wanted me to do, and understanding that I am and we all are, aside from the business and aside from the things that we're, chasing after, we're all on our own spiritual paths. And I've actually understood that like everything in my life has played out exactly the way it has for me to get to this point. everything happens for a reason. Everything's happening and has happened for me to be able to get here. And being able to be confident and understanding that I am on my spiritual path, and I am fulfilling my destiny, I am fulfilling the life that I want to live, and I am taking these opportunities as they come, has led me to understand that, like, one, it's never ending, but two, the reason why there is no so much definition on success anymore is because I'm not chasing after anything anymore. Everything is just falling in line because all I'm doing is focusing on serving a mission that's far beyond myself and beyond Bill. And it's crazy to think, because I'm like, damn, like, I just want this for everybody. When I sit there and I'm like, damn, I'm 22 and I'm doing this, I'm like, I want this to inspire people. I want this to show people that they can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. And in those moments, man, where I think that, I'm like, fuck, I just want to keep showing up. I want to go out there and tell this to somebody today. I want to go out there and impact a life today. And by living this life, I don't necessarily need to try so hard to have a positive impact anymore. Because I'm like, I know people out there watching, and it's a one hell of a fucking privilege to have that pressure and to be able to be that leader and example for people. And so, man, it's cool, man. I just like trust myself more than ever.
I love it, man. I think you summarize how I feel about it too. You're saying that, like, you just get to a point to where you just don't define success anymore. And success can be as little as, like, playing with your dog and just being genuinely happy. Like, dude, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're fucking busting ass to pay the bills, and you come home and your one purpose is to give your dog like the best life ever, and you come and you make that dog happy, like, dude, you're successful. Like, I don't care. Like, that's success.
Straight up.
There's so many different levels to it. And I think that once you get to a point to where it just becomes like magnitude, you realize how minuscule it can come down to, and how success is actually just everywhere. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. But any final words that you want to give the listeners before hopping off? Any words of advice for anybody who's starting their journey and it's kind of like, looking at the edge of the cliff, thinking like, oh shit, I'm about to jump. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I have goosebumps there. I've had like goosebumps after you asked every single question, dude. I think there's really 3 stages to any sort of step that you make. And initially, there's always going to be so much attachment to our thought. We all know that our brains are built for survival. And in today's age, we survive the doubt, the fear, the anxiety. And a lot of us are still, stuck in those thoughts. And I want you to know that wherever you are, if you are stuck in those thoughts, and if you are fearing something, if you are afraid to do something, if you are doubting yourself, and you think that, oh shit, it's gonna take me so long to get that point, like, those fears and those doubts are all signs for you. There's a reason you are thinking those things. And actually using those emotions, and those strong emotions, like the fear, the doubt, the worry, the anxiousness, the anxiety, flipping those on themselves, understanding, like, what's it going to cost me if I don't go after this? What's it going to cost my future? What's it going to cost my family? What's it going to cost the people around me, the people I care for, if I don't actually go after this? We tend to run so far away from the pain because our instinct is to just survive from it, that we don't actually allow ourselves to sit in that enough to actually create the change that we want and face those fears head on. And I promise you right now, like, whatever it is that you fear the most, not on a fucking surface level, because I fear spiders and I won't fuck with them. Like, whatever it is that you fear the most, you need the most. And the only way you can overcome that is by beginning to experience what it's like to face that head on. And little by little, you will begin to learn your lessons. You don't need to know everything, because experience is truly the greatest teacher. And as you begin to learn those lessons and be aware of those opportunities and see things happening for you and see things really aligning for you, and being curious enough to actually see the lessons within the failures, because you will fucking fail, you will run into pain, but using those moments and embracing those moments to then build on, understanding that those are your strengths, those will be your strengths in the future. That's what leads to breakthrough after breakthrough. And that's what leads you to living your fulfilled life, succeeding in whatever it is that you want, and creating what you want out of life. So everyone has that initial fear, and it's just, are you willing to break through it?
I love it. I love it. I'll leave Chad with the final words here. Chad, thank you so much for hopping on again. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to follow Chad, you can follow him on Instagram. Just Chad Morgan, right?
Chad Morgan Fit with a FIT, baby.
Awesome. I love it. You guys can follow his adventures as he just moved to San Diego. So Chad, thanks so much, brother. We'll end it here.
Thank you, dude. Seriously.